All right, everybody, circle up.
From Wish TV.
Here we go.
Indie Style is Indie's only live local lifestyle program.
Everything they do is great. You're part of it. Talk about things that I want to know about.
Where life and style meet.
Oh, this is great.
Really great energy.
Really having a wonderful time.
The best. I love it.
Everything about him is great.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the big announcement you've all been waiting for.
This is the Indie Style Podcast.
All right, let's get right to it.
On the All Indiana Podcast Network.
From Wish TV's Indie Style, I'm Amber Hankins, and on this episode, author, hypnotist, and success coach Tim Shurr talks about the rise in stress, anxiety, and emotional burnout in so many of us these days. Our conversation turns deep as we talk about our own personal journeys, effective ways to build confidence and inner security. As I told Tim myself, quote, I wasn't ashamed because I knew it was something I couldn't control. The rest of that story starts now. This is the Indie Style Podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number biggest sale of the year. All beds on sale up to 50% off the limited edition smart bed. Plus free premium delivery with any smart bed and adjustable base. Ends Labor Day. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Well, his name is Tim Shurr, and of course, he is a friend of Indie Style. He is an author, a hypnotist, and also a success coach. Good morning to you, Tim. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Amber. Always a pleasure to be with you.
Good morning. So I love the topic today, talking about stress, anxiety, and emotional burnout. This is a time right now where so many of us are feeling this way. Obviously, a lot due to the pandemic, maybe due to work. Maybe a combination of a little bit of everything, Tim.
Yeah, we all struggle with stress, pressure, anxiety, overwhelm, which all comes from fear. Fear that we're not going to be okay, fear for a loved one, the worries that we have about money, about our relationships, about our health, the big T and little t traumas that we experienced as kids that are still affecting us as adults today. So there's plenty of reasons why people are feeling stressed out.
Which, of course, leads me to the $1 million question. You know, what do we do about it? How do we fix it? I know there are several methods, but is it fair to say that maybe one thing that works for one may not work for everybody?
Well, here's what I found after 32 years of looking for the answer to that question and providing well over 15,000 hypnosis sessions with people from around the world. It comes down to loving ourselves and making ourselves feel safe and upgrading the beliefs that are in our unconscious mind that we don't even know are there, that we absorbed or that we picked up when we were little girls and little boys growing up because of the experiences that we've had. Our minds formed ideas about what we think those situations meant and without our permission. So if you went through traumatic experiences or you were embarrassed in school in front of the classroom, your mind will create these ideas that I'm not safe, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy of love, you can't trust people. And if you have these core beliefs that I'm not worthy or I'm not safe, I was working with someone yesterday and she had been really struggling with anxiety her whole life. And so when we did our first session together, she found this belief that was developed when she was 5 years old, that it was her fault that her parents got a divorce. And of course, it's not a 5-year-old's fault, but she internalized this belief that it's my fault. There must be something so wrong with me that my parents couldn't stay together. And of course, then she grows up with this driving idea in her mind that I'm so bad that people won't even stay around to love me. And that affected every experience that she had. She was grinding her teeth at night. She couldn't let her guards down. She had trouble with her relationships. She was always trying to control everything. I mean, that's exhausting and it creates all kinds of problems.
It is exhausting. And the mind is such a powerful thing. But what is it about our minds that allow us to have those negative feelings and negative thoughts take over, as opposed to having those positive thoughts lead us in this other direction?
That's an excellent question. And the reason is because unfortunately, we have experienced too much negative reinforcement instead of positive reinforcement, too much focusing on what's wrong instead of on what's right. Even right now, we're kind of in a cancel culture, right? Trying to catch people doing things wrong, which people need to be held accountable. It's kind of about time, right?
Yeah.
However, we need to also catch people doing things right. So I one time Googled a list of 100 emotions that people could experience. And out of the 100, 75 of those emotions described what we might think of as negative emotions, 75 out of 100. So when you say, well, why do we have so many negative thoughts? Well, it's because it's kind of built in to our language. It's built into our experiences. We're so afraid that instead of trying to win in life, we're all playing not to lose. And because we're afraid we're going to get hurt, we're going to be rejected, we're going to be abandoned, we're going to be humiliated. And so we walk around with so much fear because that's what we've experienced. So it's always trying to say, how am I going to get hurt here? How can I protect myself here? What if this bad thing happens there? We call it worry. We call it stress. But really what it is a lack of knowing how to drive your thoughts in a way that empowers you, in a way that makes you feel safe, and in a way that makes you feel fulfilled.
And it's a tough thing because so many people say, well, it's easier said than done, because if those feelings are rooted in experiences and relationships that even we've had as a child, how do we crawl out of that hole, so to speak, because we feel like we've been there for so many years?
That's where the unconscious beliefs come in. When you upgrade those unconscious beliefs, that core belief that I'm not good enough to be loved, to I am enough, I'm more than enough, I'm worthy of love, I'm worthy of taking care of myself, I'm worthy of, I know I can accomplish anything I put my mind to. You give yourself a sense of inner security instead of hoping that somehow everybody else is going to do the right thing, which doesn't happen. And then we feel out of control again. So we take our control back by upgrading our fundamental beliefs. And that's the part that everybody seems to be missing. We go to therapy and we try to learn how to be more supportive in our thoughts. We try to be a positive thinker, and we talk about our problems, but they don't really get any better. Or we say positive affirmations and then we don't believe them because we have these experiences that prove that you're going to get hurt if you trust people.
Yeah.
But it's because of those beliefs, it causes us to show up and pay attention to stuff that's holding us back instead of looking for the opportunities that would move us forward. And so I have found after all these years, we have just not got to the core of the issue. People are cutting the top off of a weed. They're not getting to the root. And so that's why the weeds, the negative thoughts keep growing back over and over.
Let me ask you this too, something that sort of goes along with the idea of like social media and things like that. Is it a good idea to, associate yourself with people who support you, with people who love you? Like, be careful of the people that you're around, and also social media on that note, unfollow, cut out the noise that essentially makes you feel in that negative space. I know I've done it. I'm like, nope, don't need that. It doesn't make me feel good. So I don't need that in my life.
That is very wise advice. I mean, that is sage advice, what you just shared. Your brain is like a sponge. You should only allow your mind to soak in what you want it to experience.
Right.
So if you're around people who are wounded, or people who have become so cynical or skeptical because of their hurts, wounds, and fears, you don't want to be around that energy because it's going to rub off on you. So you need to unfriend or unfollow, and then friend and follow people and sources that are going to lift you up, that are going to help you feel inspired. One of the reasons why I keep coming back to indie style, for example, as opposed to a lot of the news programs, is because when you watch indie style, you're just happy afterwards,
you're happy,
right? You're just all kinds of this segment and that one, and just one after another of happiness. Yeah. It's like a big dose of happiness for a whole hour every morning. Right. And you don't get that. It is contagious. You don't get that watching the news.
No, you don't. And even the people that I work with now and surround myself with, it's such a contagious, positive energy that just to my core just makes me genuinely happy. Yes. And I like to think of I always tell people who are like, and I'm the same way. I'm like, I don't have as many girlfriends or this person does or whatever. I don't have this big social circle. Mm-hmm. And it's when I read, I would rather have the right friends than the large number of friends, because there's only really a few that are really, really to the core going to support you, going to be there for you. And it's not about, look at me, we're doing this, we're going on this vacation with all these girlfriends and that or the other. You need your people who really support you. It's not what it looks like to other people. It's really how you feel inside. And I have had to learn that. That's a big deal.
Yeah, that is a big deal. And again, more incredible advice, because that's, I 100% agree with you. And that goes for family as well. Not just friends, because it's funny because you talk to those friends that have a lot of friends around them, quantity over quality, and they're just complaining the whole time about how awful it is. And then we get together with family, and sometimes, all you hear is the complaining afterwards because of how people show up. So,
and don't you think to show off, I feel like we're in this me, look at me kind of world, when certain people have a tendency to constantly compete with the Joneses, or now it is social media and it's these picture perfect lives and pictures, which when we see those and our lives don't feel perfect, it makes us feel less than, not knowing that oftentimes they are portraying the best, look at me, look at that. And then they turn on that computer, Tim, and they're miserable. And that's a lesson to learn. So I'm like, I'm okay where I am. I don't need that kind of thing.
Yeah. And how long did it take them to take that one picture? They usually are taking like 50 or 100 in this, so it's an illusion. And, a lot of these social media sites are like a weird online journal, where people are putting out what they would like their life to be like, or they're doing it because, and some are just doing it because they're sharing their experiences. So that's fine. Right. But others are doing it because they're looking for that outside validation, that approval,
and attention.
That they're enough.
Yes.
Yeah. That they're okay, or that you can like them, or you should want to be friends with them because look how cool my life is. And that is a desire for outside approval. And I have found that it's such a waste of time. Whatever you chase, it runs away. So if you're chasing approval, or you're chasing respect, or you're chasing love, or you're chasing money, it runs away. Give it to yourself. Give yourself the love, the validation, the approval, the acceptance. And then instead of chasing it, you draw it to you. You attract it to you. And that's really the secret to manifesting a life that you really love living.
Yeah, it really is. And I know that's harder for some than others. Like you said, going back to your point at the beginning of this interview, when people have been told, or at least made to feel as if they don't matter, as if they're not enough. And that's a tricky thing, but we all have so many things to offer. And I think that's what makes this world such a beautiful place, is that we are all so different. But it's seeing, the beliefs that we have in ourselves that I think is what's going to push us forward. I've had to learn that. I know a lot of other people have had to learn that. Like, we're not alone. And I think that's the biggest thing. When you open up and no longer stay silent, perhaps not feeling like you are ashamed or don't have to talk about it. I found therapy in that. I'm like, you need to be able to have your voice in a way that makes you feel free. And that's everything.
That is everything. That's an act of self-love. Yeah, that's an act of self-love when you don't carry that burden around, because if people knew what I've been through, they would know that I was broken, or that I was wounded, or that, I was dirty. And that's false. Those fears are what keep holding us back. And so I love what you said about it is hard, not for some people, it's hard for everyone. This is a hard journey. I've been writing these books on, loving yourself and getting over self-sabotage and all that stuff for years, because those are the books that I needed for myself. Right. Those are the books that I needed to figure out. How do I love Tim? How do I stop sabotaging myself? How do I stop, being awake in the middle of the night, worrying that I'm going to run out of time, of money, of love, that my wife is going to realize I'm a fraud and leave me. All these fears of insecurity. And so, and I know a lot of the top best-selling authors in the world, and they wrote those books because they felt wounded and broken and not enough. So it's not that the journey's easy, it's that the journey is necessary.
It's necessary. And it's interesting because what was it? Maybe sometime last month, I decided actually after a conversation with you to finally open up and talk about kind of what I went through when I had my 2 children during my labors and deliveries. And, people have this image of us being on television, especially as women, thinking everything is just so picture perfect and this and that. And I am here to tell you, it is not. And I have been through some really, really hard times and dark times as well, that I always felt very, very embarrassed, not ashamed because it wasn't anything I could control, but it was a really difficult time in my life that I didn't want anybody to know about. But the moment I released that, it's almost like releasing that into the universe. There were so many people that were like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful because me too. And then me too. Oh, this is my story. And it made me tear up because here I was living with this for so long, thinking that something was so wrong with me, not knowing what was going on and not knowing that other women felt the exact same way. Yes. And that was very freeing within itself.
I mean, that's bravery and courage in action.
Yeah.
And when you step past your fear and you stand in your faith or in your power, or you stand with the universe and say, hey, I'm declaring that I went through this difficult thing, but I still matter. Right. Yeah. And I'm going to share my experience. And you survived and you're through. And not just surviving, you're thriving. Right. Because now you're empowering other women to realize that what you went through isn't the exception. It's generally what happens for so many of us.
Yeah. And it's nobody, it's just not talked about enough, It's again, I feel like even before social media, it goes back to that, the idea, the notion, oh, I'm pregnant. Oh, I have a baby. Oh, here she is. Yay, baby. And that's it. End of story. And there's so much that can go wrong and so many things that go into that. And it really makes me sad. I think about my ancestors and women years and years and years ago who didn't know what this was, would be shunned or ashamed for talking about it, and who felt so incredibly alone. And that is difficult. But I have also, what came out of that was humbling because I had such a better understand of mental illness, mental anguish, mental difficulties, mental health in general, because I'd never gone anything through that. PTSD, I didn't know what that was. I just thought, oh, you get back from the war and people have that, not knowing to the magnitude, what that can mean and how that can, it literally, it changes the makeup in your brain. And I remember thinking things, I'm like, this is not me. What is happening? And I was scared. I was really, really scared.
Yeah. Well, those are the best role models, the people who have been through it and then are talking about it and then are giving ideas and strategies for how to get through it so that you're not a survivor, you're a thriver.
Yeah.
And so this is what we're talking about. We're sharing our personal stories, our personal pain. They say our mess is our message.
Yes.
And now, we're saying, hey, you can get through this and we believe in you. And it's not just you. Your pain is personal, but you're not the only one that's going through it. We can get through this together in a more collaborative spirit.
They need to see that life is imperfect. And I think it allows us to relate better to one another and to connect, because life is messy and we all go through certain things to where I feel like at the end of the day, we need each other and we need someone to reach out and say, you know what, I've been there. It's okay. I felt the same way too. And I will help you get through this, no matter what part of life, because we all go through things, but that allows us to feel and to relate to one another. And I think that is the most important thing of all. It really is.
It really is.
Oh, I could talk for hours, but I know we need to wrap this up. But is there anything that you want to leave us with for listeners who are listening to us right now? Anything to help them along their way?
Well, just remember that sometimes you just need one person to believe in you so that you can believe in yourself. And right now, Amber and I both believe in you. We know that you are amazing. We know that you have greatness inside of you, and we know that you have more potential that you could ever use up in a lifetime. And so it's just a matter of getting on this path, whether it's hard or easy is irrelevant because it's necessary. You can do this. We've got your back. We'll help you. And we believe in you. So your time is now.
We've got you. Love yourself, love one another. Tim Shurr, thank you so much. As always, such a pleasure, my friend. Happy early holidays to you. Appreciate all that you do.
Thank you, Amber. Right back at you. Totally appreciate you for what you're doing.
Thank you, Tim.
From Wish TV's Indie Style, I'm Amber Hankins. Be sure to like and subscribe to the Indie Style podcast right now on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
Watch Indie Style weekday mornings at 10 a.m. on Wish TV. Follow Indie Style on Facebook and connect for even more at wishtv.com.
This concludes our broadcast day.
For even more great podcasts, go to allindianapodcastnetwork.com.